What's up, guys? Mark back here with another video, and it's true. Finally confirmed that Bowens is finally dead. They were starting to do some liquidation, at least that was what the rumor was. Now, no one could confirm it then, and up until this point, it was, in fact, just a rumor. But for those of you that have been in the photography business for any good length of time, Bowens has been around for an extremely long time, 1923 to be exact. So they've been around 93, 94 years, and they've confirmed that they are, in fact, going out of business. So this kind of leads me back to the video that I had put out yesterday. And if you guys have not watched that video yet, please check the link down in the description box below, where I'll leave it right up here in the card section. Bowens has officially confirmed that they are going out of business, and their main reasoning behind leaving the marketplace and liquidating their assets is mainly because of cheap Chinese brands, which would include brands like Yongnuo, Godox, Phottix, and MEKE, okay? Or MEKE, or however you pronounce it. But yeah, so a lot of us buy these brands. A lot of us use these brands. And for good reason. They are extremely inexpensive. And Bowens is not. Again, you know, we go back to what is quality? What is desirable? You know, where would you prefer to buy your gear from? A lot of us, especially when it is not our camera and it's not our lenses, you know, we don't really care where it's from. You know, as long as they can get us through the next year or so, we're good. It doesn't have to last any longer than that because, well, we'll probably buy something new anyway. And that's pretty much the way I feel. I feel like a lot of this stuff, the tech has gotten so disposable at this point that if I don't have it, or if I break it, or I lose it, or whatever happens to it, you know, it's just no big deal. It's like, oh, well, it's, you know, $70 flash. I'll just go buy another one. And a lot of people feel the same way about their studio equipment too. There's a lot of brands out there. Aperture makes some pretty good stuff. Phottix makes really great stuff. Yongnuo and Godox and Cactus and all these other different types of companies, they're all making a lot of really affordable items, and more people are picking them up. You know, Pocket Wizard is another one that is suffering under all of these cheap Chinese triggers that are being released now. The old companies, the old vanguard companies from Britain and Germany and Japan and hell, even America, we're just not able to compete. And that has a lot to do with trade deals. When these countries bill different stuff as free trade agreements, it's not free trade under any circumstance. If you're not caught up on the geopolitics of the whole free trade kind of thing, do yourself a favor, start investigating. It's not free trade. It is government managed trade, okay? And that is not the same as free trade. So while there would be some of us that would probably buy quality over quantity in terms of cheap Chinese goods, these companies that hold on to their traditions, they hold on to, you know, where they made their stuff from, they're not able to compete in the same market space when you have managed trade, when you have unfair trade deals between the Chinese. The Chinese really does and has made extremely large strides in the marketplace, but it's because it's getting unfair trade deals. It's half of everyone else's fault. Everyone that got in bed with the Chinese government in order to create the subsidies and to create lower tariffs for their incoming products that have basically flooded all of our markets. People in the UK, people in America, people in Japan, they can't compete. Absolutely not. So it does make it extremely difficult for all of your home-based companies to maintain any level of profitability when you're going up against an entire section of the population that steals technology from other countries, steals technology from other companies, rips people off. Everything is a knockoff. Everything is a cash grab, and they take that gear and they just duplicate it. So, you know, I don't know what to tell anyone. You know, it's just like, well, you know, you can stand your ground and you can say, well, you know, F them and I'm not going to buy your gear anymore. But then you are faced with the decision. Do you just have nothing, or do you actually spend the money on some quality gear from Japan or the UK or whatever? If you are thinking about getting any kind of high quality lighting, right now would probably be the time to do it. While Bowens is doing their liquidation, I would assume that a lot of their gear is going to go pretty fast. The downside to that is that there's probably going to be no company there to back up your gear if if you ever have any problems with it, if it ever fails. I don't know what their commitment is going to be to their customers long term. You know, those are basically your options. You can be stubborn and stand your ground, which is fine. And it's a principled approach, and I identify with it quite a bit. Or you can just go ahead and keep, buying the Chinese brands, which I'm also not opposed to. People got to make money, and their gear is relatively cheap, so it does make it a very appealing option to most people. 90 to 95% of every single photographer out there does not work as a photographer for a living. You know, it is a hobby. They are massive enthusiasts, weekend warriors, but the guys that do this on a day-to-day basis, they're making pretty damn good money. They're not going to be all that worried about the price of the gear that they buy. One, because they know it'll last for a good long time, and two, they've got the extra capital to spend it. And of course, I'm not saying that everyone wants to spend it, but they would definitely have it, whereas the strictly enthusiast, hobbyist level photographer is not going to have that extra cash. While I do find it to be a very sad day in the photography world, I mean, I was literally just talking about Nikon and how I did not want them to leave the marketplace, and now we've got another photographic giant leaving the marketplace due to the crushing prices of the Chinese market. They are just flooding the entire world with cheap knockoffs, stolen technology. It's basically technology that other companies worked really hard to design and create, and then they just reverse engineer that stuff and then put it out there. And of course, it's good. We buy it. Sometimes it's really good, and sometimes just kind of but nonetheless, it gets the job done. So in a truly free market, I don't think that this would be happening at all, but we do not live in such a market. So I just want to say, rest in peace, Bowens. You really did make some pretty amazing stuff, and I'm really sad to see you go. I would like to hear what all you guys think about this situation. I do have a feeling that more and more companies are going to fall victim to extremely cheaply made Chinese gear, and that's just the reality that we have to face. So I would like to hear what you guys say. As always, thanks so much for stopping here at the Photo Video Show. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I will see you guys again on the next one. Peace.